Every generation is told the same thing. This time it's different. This crisis is unprecedented. If you don't comply now, everything collapses. And every generation later realizes the same truth. The crisis passed, the power stayed, and nobody got their freedom back. That's not coincidence. That is a system doing exactly what it was built to do. History doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. People like to pretend this is new. It's not. After World War I, governments didn't just demobilize, they learned how to manage populations, how to use fear, how to centralize authority during emergencies. After World War II, those lessons didn't disappear. They were institutionalized. Cold War programs to openly study psychological operations, mass persuasion, media shaping, threat amplification. Not as a conspiracy, but as policy. Entire doctrines were built on the idea that public perception is more important than truth because perception determines behavior. We see that from going back way back in the day. We see it in our history of WMDs to the current government patterns that's happening as of this week. That mindset never went away. It just got better with technology. And this is where people lose the plot. They imagine villains in dark rooms twirling mustaches. That's lazy thinking. The system doesn't require evil people. It only requires misaligned incentives. Okay. If your job gets funded when problems grow, gets cut when problems shrink, rewards compliance, and punishes dissent, then even good people will produce bad outcomes. That's how you get endless wars with no victory conditions, crises that never fully resolve, and agencies that fail upward. Not because no one noticed, but because fixing it would collapse careers. This is why whistleblowers terrify systems more than criminals. See that right now, currently. Look at what they're trying to uncover, and people are getting bashed for it. Criminals validate the system. Whistleblowers expose it. Now, we can talk about something everyone lived through, the COVID pandemic. It wasn't just a health event like they tried to say it was. What it was a systems stress test. And what did we learn? Emergency powers expanded. Civil liberties were suspended by executive authority. Remember people on the beach alone getting arrested. They built tents outside for people to eat inside of a tent, outside of a building, like that was any better if it supposedly worked that way. And then the dangerous thing is dissent was labeled dangerous, wasn't debated. You heard people getting deplatformed, doctors getting removed. You've seen it. You've seen media and government messaging synchronized. Look at social media, right? Mainstream media, all of them synchronized for one narrative. And rules apply differently based on status. If you're a politician, you got to go get your hair done, go to fine dinners, drink wine. And this is the most important part. When predictions were wrong, when policies failed, when damage became obvious, no one was held accountable. And we were told instead that we didn't know at the time. Mistakes were made. Trust the process. But the process never punished itself. That tells you everything, but maybe you got punished or people you knew got punished. Years ago, we got told mass surveillance wasn't happening. We got told that. Then documents leaked. Not theories, actual documents got leaked. We learned about bulk data collection, and that existed. Metadata mattered more than the content. Surveillance targeted populations, not suspects, maybe you. And what happened after that exposure? Did surveillance roll back? No. Did they punish the people doing the surveillance? No. They went after the whistleblower. And then not only that, it was legalized, normalized, and expanded. And that's the pattern. Deny, get exposed, reframe, and codify. The system doesn't retreat, it adapts. There's a term for what happens next. I've talked about this quite a lot over the years if you followed me. Something anarcho-tyranny. Much more people need to talk about it. I don't hear many people mention this. This is a true process. And that is when systems fail to control real threats, okay, the real criminals, but aggressively controls compliant citizens, okay. Violence goes unchecked. Crime is complex. Borders are hard. But paperwork, compliance, speech, that gets enforced immediately. The system becomes simultaneously weak and oppressive. Not by accident, but because enforcement flows where it's easiest. It's not chaos, it's efficiency. It's kind of like with the Second Amendment and legislation, firearm legislation. They pass legislation, but criminals still do bad things with firearms. It only criminalizes the common citizen that's just trying to protect himself. Think about this. Why are the same thinkers, whistleblowers, and analysts always dismissed the same way? Crazy, dangerous, outdated, or disinformation? Not because they're wrong, but because pattern recognition is contagious. Once people stop reacting emotionally and start thinking structurally, the system loses leverage. Fear works on ignorance. Control works on dependency. But awareness creates friction, and systems hate friction. Now, this isn't abstract. The system produces men who feel powerless but can't explain why. You probably know people like that. Maybe you deal with that. I see it in the comments sometimes. Families dependent on institutions that don't care. We've seen whole races being dependent on the system, and families destroyed, men taken from homes. We have citizens trained to wait instead of react. We see things on subway cars, in the streets, acts of violence that no man will stand up because they're scared of what's going to happen to them if they do. You can see this pattern in health, masculinity, self-trust, and readiness. People are exhausted, not because life is harder, because agency has been stripped quietly, okay? And that's the real damage. The system always promises just one more fix. How many fixes have we had, even in your lifetime? It's kind of like if the government issued you a gym membership and you never go, and they keep charging, they keep paying, and they blame you for not being fit. At some point, it's not incompetence, it's a business model. Look at what's happening up in Minnesota. We're trying to demonize the guy who exposed it. And really, people are really blowing this thing out of proportion. This is just such a small crack in the whole system that I think we would be shocked. This is something small, insignificant, you could say, compared to at large. Things are bad, much more worse than small stories like that. And I say small, it's billions of dollars, but it's small because the truth is things are very, very bad. We lived through times like this, and you don't even hear people talking about this anymore. They pretend like this did not even happen. They forgot. Maybe they put it in the back of their brain, but it's there. It happened. We see a pattern of how capable men have been neutralized without chains, without camps, right? They didn't crush strong men head on. That would create martyrs like Daniel Penny. They don't want martyrs. They redirected, distracted, and dissolved them. Think less about boot to neck and more fog in the air. You don't notice you're being weakened until you try to stand up and realize, oh man, my legs are gone. They broke the body first. A capable man starts with a capable body. So they made movement optional. You remember as a kid, at least if you're old like me, school physical fitness was part of the program. They made convenience mandatory. You can pretty much have anything ordered to your door. Watch movies from home. You don't even have to go to the theaters anymore. People don't even date anymore. They just talk to AI models or have OnlyFans accounts. They also made sickness normal. They don't even try to fix sickness, but medicate it. Look at movies and TV shows. They made weakness sympathetic. Like, oh, come here. They made discipline extreme. I've been called that in my lifetime. They made ultra-processed food, sedentary jobs, endless screens, chemical exposure, sleep deprivation dressed up as productivity. A tired man doesn't rebel, a sick man doesn't plan, and an overweight man doesn't move fast. You don't need to ban strength when you can starve it slowly. They severed effort from reward. Capable men thrive when effort produces results. And this is going to hit home. So they flip the equation. Hard work no longer guarantees stability or success. It doesn't. It could be the hardest worker on the job. Boss man screwing you over. They've also shown that obedience guarantees safety. Oh, I'm not going to get any trouble if I just obey. Risk is punished. Compliance is ensured. You train, save, build, and still get crushed by inflation, tariffs, taxes, rules that change mid-game. They change the yard line on you. Meanwhile, speculators win. Behind kissers get promoted. Liars climb the tower. And paper pushers advance. You ever served in the military? You've seen that with officers. Eventually, a man asks himself, man, why try? And honestly, that question is lethal. It's lethal to the man. They rewired the mind. Strong men think in cause and effect. So they replace it with emotion over logic, narrative over evidence, experts over experience, consensus over truth. Independent thinking was reframed as dangerous, misinformed, extreme, problematic. I get called all those things all the time for these videos. And once a man doubts his own judgment, he starts outsourcing it. That's the handoff. What does the mainstream media tell me to do? What does this politician tell me to do? They turn masculinity into a punchline. You don't destroy something that powerful directly. You mock it. Strength became toxic. Leadership became controlling. Stoicism became emotional repression. Oh, get it out. Get your emotions out. Self-reliance became antisocial. The capable man didn't disappear. He went quiet. He went dark. And silence is easier to manage than confrontation. All day. The other big thing in life is that they replace brotherhood with isolation. Capable men don't exist alone. They form networks. They want you by yourself on your screen at night. They don't want you joining the chat. Meanwhile, Anarcho-tyranny happening in the streets. We've seen that during the Summer of Love and so on, where the police will stand by while criminals are just doing it, torching everything. We saw it happening all the time. So how do they do this? They atomize society, replace community with platforms, replace mentorship with influencers, mostly are fake, replace brotherhood with algorithms. Men were left alone with screens, porn, rage, dopamine loops. A lone man is easier to manipulate than a bonded one. Always. Iron sharpens iron like one man sharpens another. And then let's talk about how they medicated the resistance. Here's the coldest part. When a man reacts appropriately to a sick environment, anger, restlessness, defiance, they don't fix the environment. They label the man with anxiety, depression, ADHD, oppositional behavior. Then they numb him. A medicated man doesn't revolt, he copes. And coping is the opposite of changing reality. Or they'll get him addicted. They're trying to pass various drug legislation to make you get addicted to more stuff. Big Pharma is always working. You can go to the gas station, buy alcohol. Guys get off of work, stop by the gas station, drink a couple beers, go home and watch Netflix. And they train men to wait. This is the final law. Capable men act. So they train them to wait for permission. You see that. You see guys waiting for permission. You ever see the sheeps in the crowd in lines? Like there's like a almost empty line, but they get in the long line and they're going to the same place. They wait for consensus. They wait for elections because they think someone's coming to save them. They wait for relief, wait for rescue. Waiting feels responsible. Waiting feels mature. Waiting feels safe until that moment passes you by. You go through life waiting for things to come to you, waiting for things to happen. You're waiting to maybe take a leap to go get a new job, maybe to ask that girl out. You're going to wait for life to pass you by. Oh, I'll get in shape next year. I'll save money next year. I'll get another job next year. I'll work 2 jobs next year. Maybe I'll win the lottery. But why capable men still scare the system? Because despite all of this, capable man doesn't panic when systems wobble. It's why you're here now. We see the system wobbling right here before our eyes. We now know that no one is coming. Are we panicking? No, we're preparing. We don't need permission to adapt. We do it. We're adapting right now. All my viewers, I know you guys are adapting. I see your comments. We don't outsource our protection. We're not waiting to call someone on the phone to come save us. We don't wait for narratives to tell us how we feel. We train anyway. We prepare anyway. We think anyway. We question the system anyway, even with the cultists telling us we're wrong. Oh, we bailed. When systems fail publicly, like they always do, we don't look surprised. We're ready. We've been preparing. We've been living this lifestyle. Right? The system didn't put men and women in chains. They put them in chairs, fed them garbage, lied to them softly, made them docile because they thought, oh man, this election, everything's going to go well for us. And sitting still is being mature. We're waiting. Trust the plan, guys. Trust it. Trust it. It's 40 chess. But the men who still train, the women still train too, still think, still prepare quietly. We don't fear collapse. We were built for it. That's the heart. That's the imagery. That's the truth people feel but can't articulate. So I'm making this video because I know a lot of people have become disenfranchised with everything, but it's okay. We knew this was going to happen. We knew it. We gave it a shot to see. We gave it some hope. But we know now that no, the system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. The question is whether you're going to stay inside of it blindly or step outside of it intentionally. Strong people don't wait for collapse. They prepare early. They move quietly. They see patterns before headlines. Pay attention to patterns, not promises. And that's why we do what we do. Let me know in your comments your thoughts. And always remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous because no one is coming to save you. Black Scout.
2, 3. 1, 2.